These are the Chinese cars worth waiting for, machines so advanced, so outrageously well equipped, and so brutally priced that the rest of the world hasn't caught up yet. China's auto industry is now producing cars that go 0 to 60 in under 2 seconds, ride on active suspension systems that can lift individual wheels on command, and cost a fraction of what a comparable European car would set you back. The YangWang U9 hits 60 miles per hour in 1.9 seconds. You heard that right, 1.9. That's faster than a Bugatti Chiron off the line. You're not about to watch a lot of videos. You're about to see exactly why the most exciting cars on the planet right now don't have a Stuttgart, Munich, or Maranello badge on them. Starting with a name that screams Chinese ambition louder than anything else on the road, Hongqi. Hongqi Guoya. Hongqi means red flag in Mandarin, and for decades, it was the car reserved for Chinese heads of state. The Guoya is what happens when that legacy gets a blank check and a mandate to compete with Rolls-Royce. The design stops you cold. Long sculpted hood, a vertical grille that towers with authority, rear proportions so balanced they look hand-drawn. This isn't a car trying to look expensive. It looks like it was never anything else. The interior pushes that further with hand-stitched leather, wood inlays, and a rear cabin that treats the backseat passenger like the only person in the room. But here's where it gets serious. The Guoya rides on an air suspension platform with active damping that reads the road ahead and adjusts before you even feel the bump. The infotainment runs on a system co-developed with domestic tech partners, and the driver assistance suite covers everything from highway hands-free cruising to automated parking in tight spaces. Under the hood, you're looking at a twin-turbocharged V8 producing over 500 horsepower, with a hybrid variant expected to push total system output past 600. Rear-wheel drive is standard, with all-wheel drive available depending on the trim. And the price? Roughly $150,000, maybe less depending on the market. A Rolls-Royce Ghost starts at $350,000. You're getting a comparable experience for less than half. That's the Guoya. But Hongqi wasn't done with just one statement. The H9 is a different kind of weapon entirely. Hongqi H9. If the Guoya is Hongqi's trophy, the H9 is its fighter. This is the car that walks into BMW 7 Series and Mercedes S-Class territory and refuses to blink. The H9 wears its design with quiet confidence. A long wheelbase, a low roofline, and a front fascia that commands attention without screaming for it. The proportions are classically European in structure, but unmistakably Chinese in execution. There's a dignity to the way it sits on the road that you don't expect at this price point. Inside, the rear seat experience is the headline. Reclining seats, a panoramic roof, and a screen layout that feels genuinely premium rather than spec sheet padding. Then you get under the skin. The H9 runs a twin-turbocharged 3-liter V6 producing around 350 horsepower with a plug-in hybrid variant that bumps the system output closer to 500. It rides on an electronically controlled air suspension that flattens corners and irons out broken tarmac with the kind of composure that takes European brands decades to tune. The driver assistance package includes adaptive cruise, lane centering, and automated emergency braking, all standard. Here's what breaks the formula though. The H9 starts at around $55,000. You're getting a car that embarrasses vehicles costing twice as much, and the only reason most people haven't heard of it is geography. But if the H9 surprises you, the Maestro S800 is about to genuinely shock you. Maestro S800. This is where things get uncomfortable for the Europeans. The Maestro S800 isn't just a Chinese luxury car. It's a Chinese luxury car built in a joint venture with Mercedes-Benz. And that changes everything. The design is immediately striking. Long, low, and wrapped in a silhouette that feels like it was sculpted in a wind tunnel and a design studio simultaneously. The S800 carries genuine presence, not borrowed prestige, not imitation elegance. The interior is where Mercedes DNA shows up most visibly, with a level of material quality and spatial design that puts it firmly in the ultra-luxury conversation. You're sitting in something that feels like it costs more than a house in some parts of the world. The technology is the real story though. You get a Qualcomm-powered infotainment brain, running a fully integrated smart cabin system, over-the-air updates, and a driver assistance suite that rivals anything Mercedes currently ships in its flagship lineup. The ride and handling electronics are tuned to a standard that only exists when two world-class engineering teams are arguing over the same car. Mechanically, the S800 runs a plug-in hybrid powertrain pushing over 800 horsepower in combined system output. 0 to 60 comes in under 4 seconds in a car that weighs over 5,000 pounds. That number shouldn't be possible, but here it is. Pricing sits around $180,000. For a co-engineered Mercedes-level experience, that's not a bargain, that's a disruption. But the Voya Taishan 9L is about to show you that disruption comes in much bigger packages. Voya Taishan 9L. Most large luxury SUVs ask you to choose between comfort and capability. The Voya Taishan 9L looks at that question and laughs. The exterior is massive in the best way possible. Wide, tall, and sculpted with enough visual aggression that it doesn't need a badge to announce itself. The front end carries a light bar that stretches full width, flanked by sharp LED clusters that give it an almost futuristic face. Inside, you get 3 rows of genuine luxury seating, not the kind where the third row is a punishment, but a proper 9-passenger cabin wrapped in premium materials with screens at every turn. This is a vehicle designed to make every single occupant feel like a priority. The technology underneath is what separates it from the competition. The Taishan 9L runs an extended-range electric powertrain, meaning a combustion engine acts purely as a generator, while electric motors do all the driving. Total system output lands north of 500 horsepower, and the electric-only range sits around 100 miles before the range extender kicks in. Full tank-to-empty range pushes past 700 miles. You heard that right, 700 miles in an SUV this size. The air suspension handles the weight with surprising composure, and the intelligent 4-wheel drive system distributes torque fast enough to make the size feel irrelevant in corners. Pricing comes in around $80,000, which for a 9-seat, 700-mile range luxury SUV is almost hard to process. But if the Taishan impressed you with its scale, the Zeekr 9X is about to impress you with its precision. Zeekr 9X. Zeekr is Geely's premium electric brand, and if you haven't been paying attention to them, the 9X is your wake-up call. The design is clean, confident, and modern without being cold. The 9X carries a fastback roofline over a proper SUV stance. It looks athletic from every angle without sacrificing the interior space that makes a family SUV actually usable. The flush door handles, full-width rear light bar, and frameless windows give it a premium finish that feels earned rather than applied. Step inside, and you're met with a minimalist cabin that prioritizes quality over quantity. Fewer buttons, better materials, and a layout that makes sense the first time you sit in it. The technology is where Zeekr flexes hardest. The 9X runs on Zeekr's own operating system with over-the-air update capability, a Qualcomm Snapdragon-powered infotainment stack, and a driver assistance suite built around a full sensor array, including LiDAR. The software experience is genuinely responsive, not the laggy, frustrating interface you've suffered through in other EVs. Mechanically, the dual-motor setup produces around 640 horsepower, launching you to 60 miles per hour in 3.5 seconds. The battery pack sits at 100 kilowatt-hours, delivering a range of over 300 miles on a single charge. 800-volt architecture means you're adding over 150 miles in just 10 minutes of charging. Pricing starts around $65,000, and for this level of engineering, that number feels almost irresponsible. But everything you've seen so far has been playing it safe. The YangWang U9 doesn't know what safe means. YangWang U9. BYD built a supercar. Let that land for a second. The U9 is low, wide, and aggressive in a way that makes Italian supercars look like they've been playing it safe. The body is all carbon fiber and sharp angles, with an aerodynamic package that generates real downforce rather than decorative vents. The interior is driver-focused and stripped for purpose. Every surface, every control exists for one reason only. The technology centerpiece is BYD's active suspension system that controls each wheel independently with enough precision that the car can bounce on the spot, lift a single corner, or dance on command. It's not a gimmick. It's the most sophisticated suspension setup on any production car at any price. 4 electric motors, 1 at each wheel. Combined output sits at 1,087 horsepower, 0 to 60 in 1.9 seconds. Top speed of 193 miles per hour. You heard that right, 1.9 seconds in a road-legal production car. Pricing lands around $300,000. A Lamborghini Huracan costs more and gets embarrassed in a straight line. But the U9 is only half the YangWang story. Its sibling does something even more unexpected. YangWang U8. A luxury SUV that can swim. That's the YangWang U8. The design is imposing and deliberate, tall, boxed, and built like a statement. It doesn't try to look sleek because it doesn't need to. The U8 wears its capability on the outside with a stance that communicates authority before you even open the door. The interior shifts the conversation entirely: premium leather, ambient lighting, and a rear cabin that competes with the best luxury SUVs on the market. The technology list is genuinely unbelievable. Tank turn capability means all 4 wheels spin in opposite directions, rotating the car on its own axis. The U8 is also buoyant sealed underbody, automatically deploying side skirts, and enough waterproofing to keep you floating for a short river crossing. This isn't a feature. This is engineering audacity. 4 electric motors produce 1,100 horsepower combined, 0 to 60 in 3.6 seconds. Off-road modes, weighting depth sensors, and an air suspension that raises the ride height on command round out a mechanical package that has no right to exist at this price. That price is around $150,000. A G-Wagon AMG costs more and can't float. And then there's a car so rare, so exclusive, that most people don't even know it exists. Hongqi L5. The Hongqi L5 is not for sale. Not to you, not to almost anyone. The design is a direct nod to the original 1960s red flag state limousine, long hood, formal roofline, and a presence that fills a street just by existing. Every panel is hand-finished. Every interior surface is bespoke. The rear cabin is a private sanctuary with hand-stitched wool upholstery, crystal glassware holders, and a level of craftsmanship that makes Rolls-Royce look mass-produced by comparison. There is no technology spec sheet because Hongqi doesn't publish one. What's known is a twin-turbocharged V8 displacing 6 liters, producing an estimated 570 horsepower, mated to a 9-speed automatic. The ride is tuned for rear seat isolation above everything else. This is a car where the passenger matters more than the driver. Pricing is estimated between $500,000 and $1 million per unit, and production numbers are counted in the dozens annually. This car exists to make a geopolitical statement that China builds the finest automobile on Earth. It's almost impossible to buy, but the next car on this list is impossible to ignore. ROX 01. The ROX 01 exists in a space between luxury SUV and visual manifesto. The exterior is dramatic and uncompromising. A coupe SUV silhouette with a front fascia that looks like it was designed by someone who wanted to intimidate other cars in traffic. The LED signature lighting runs the full width of the front and rear, and the muscular wheel arches frame massive alloys that fill the gaps with zero apology. Inside, the ROX 01 delivers a 4-seat luxury cabin with a floating center console, a curved screen cluster, and ambient lighting that transforms the interior at night into something genuinely cinematic. The technology package includes a Huawei-developed smart cockpit system, the same ecosystem appearing across China's most advanced EVs, with seamless phone integration, voice control that actually works, and a driver assistance suite covering full highway autonomy. Dual electric motors produce around 570 horsepower. 0 to 60 arrives in 4 seconds flat. Range sits at over 300 miles with 800-volt fast charging capability. Pricing starts around $70,000, which for this level of visual impact and technological sophistication is the kind of number that makes European SUV buyers deeply uncomfortable. And if the ROX 01 made you look twice, the Hi-Fi Z will make you stop completely. Hi-Fi Z. The Hi-Fi Z doesn't look like a car from this decade. It barely looks like a car from this planet. The exterior is built around programmable RGB lighting panels embedded in the body, not just the headlights and taillights, but the actual bodywork. You can change the light patterns, display animations, and personalize the exterior appearance from your phone. Butterfly doors open with theatrical drama, and the overall silhouette is a long, low, grand tour that turns heads before anyone even registers the badge. Inside, Hi-Fi has built what it calls the Hi-Fi Bot, a physical AI companion integrated into the cabin that responds to voice, controls vehicle functions, and personalizes the experience over time. The screen layout is generous without being chaotic, and the material quality punches well above the price point. Dual motors produce 536 horsepower, 0 to 60 in 3.8 seconds. Range sits at around 400 miles on a single charge. Pricing starts at around $80,000. For a car this visually extraordinary, that number barely makes sense. But if Hi-Fi showed you what's possible with design, Avatr is about to show you what's possible with technology. Avatr 12. 3 companies built the Avatr 12. Chang'an provided the platform, CATL provided the battery, Huawei provided the brain. When those 3 names collaborate on a single car, the result isn't just good, it's a problem for every other manufacturer on Earth. The design is sleek and sophisticated, a fastback sedan with a low roofline, frameless doors, and a front end that carries restrained aggression rather than theatrics. It looks expensive because every line was deliberate. The interior continues that philosophy with a wraparound cockpit, a massive curved display, and Huawei's smart cabin interface running everything from climate to navigation with a responsiveness that makes other infotainment systems feel like they're still booting up. But here's where the tension builds. Huawei's ADS smart driving system, the same technology powering some of the most advanced autonomous driving demos in the world, is standard on the Avatr 12. This isn't adaptive cruise control with a fancy name. This is a full sensor fusion system combining LiDAR, radar, and cameras into a driving assistance suite that handles city traffic, highway merging, and complex intersections with genuine competence. The powertrain delivers around 578 horsepower from dual motors, launching the Avatr 12 to 60 miles per hour in 3.7 seconds. CATL's Chiron battery pack sits at 90 kilowatt hours, returning a range of over 350 miles. Charging speed on 800-volt architecture adds roughly 200 miles in 15 minutes. Pricing starts around $68,000. For a car engineered by 3 industry giants simultaneously, that price is almost insulting to the competition. And if the Avatr 12 showed you what a smart car really looks like, the Hongqi EHS9 is about to show you what a smart family car feels like. Hongqi EHS9. Hongqi took everything it knows about state-level luxury and poured it into a 6-seat electric SUV. The result is the EHS9, and it has no business being this good. The exterior carries Hongqi's signature vertical grille translated into an EV-friendly closed fascia, flanked by razor-sharp LED headlights that stretch into the front quarters. The proportions are commanding, long, tall, and wide enough to fill a lane with purpose. This is not a crossover pretending to be an SUV. It's the real thing. Inside, the second-row captain's chairs recline to near-flat positions. Individual climate zones cover every seat. And the ambient lighting system creates a cabin atmosphere that makes long journeys feel like an event rather than an obligation. The technology suite includes Hongqi's latest smart driving platform with highway assistance, automatic parking, and a rear seat entertainment system with individual screens for second-row passengers. Over-the-air updates keep the system current, and the voice control system responds in natural language rather than robotic commands. Dual motors produce around 510 horsepower. 0 to 60 lands in 4.9 seconds, which sounds modest until you remember this vehicle weighs over 6,000 pounds and seats 6 people in genuine luxury. Range sits at around 400 miles on a full charge, with fast charging capability that recovers over 150 miles in 30 minutes. Pricing starts around $110,000. A Mercedes EQS SUV starts higher and offers less rear seat theater. But the EHS9 is a car built around comfort. The Nio ET9 is built around something far more ambitious. Nio ET9. Nio didn't just build a flagship sedan, They built an argument that the entire ownership model of a car needs to change, and the ET9 is their proof of concept. The design is assertive and refined in equal measure. A long hood, a fastback roofline, and a front end with Nio's full-width light signature give it an unmistakable road presence. The interior is where Nio's vision becomes tangible. A 4-seat luxury cabin with massaging rear seats, a panoramic roof, and Nio's latest Banyan operating system, running a curved display cluster that feels genuinely next generation. Every surface communicates intent. Then comes the technology that separates the ET9 from everything else on this list. Nio's Skyride suspension uses fully active hydraulic control at each corner, reading road surfaces and adjusting in real time with a speed and precision that makes air suspension feel outdated. Combined with a 900-volt electrical architecture, the ET9 charges faster than almost any production EV on the market, adding over 150 miles in just 5 minutes of charging. And, if you'd rather not wait at all, Nio's battery swap stations exchange a depleted pack for a fully charged one in under 5 minutes. You heard that right, under 5 minutes. Dual motors produce over 900 horsepower. 0 to 60 arrives in 2.9 seconds for a full-size luxury sedan. The range sits at over 440 miles. Pricing starts around $112,000. And for this level of technology density, that number will age very badly for Nio's competitors. The ET9 is Nio's most complete car, but the final car on this list doesn't care about being complete, it only cares about being fastest. Zeekr 001 FR. Zeekr saved the most violent entry for last. The 001 FR is not a comfortable car. It is not a practical car. It is not a car that asks for your patience or your understanding. It is a machine built around a single obsession to be the fastest production electric car you can actually buy. The design starts with the 001's distinctive shooting brake silhouette, that long, swooping roofline that bleeds into a near-vertical rear glass and then adds every aerodynamic weapon in the arsenal. A front splitter that means business, side skirts that hug the road, a rear diffuser that generates real downforce. Carbon fiber panels replace steel wherever weight savings are possible. The 001 FR doesn't look angry. It looks inevitable. Inside, the cabin is deliberately focused. Bucket seats with aggressive bolstering hold you in place before you even touch the throttle. The steering wheel is flat-bottomed and direct. The screen layout carries over Zeekr's clean interface, but make no mistake, the interior exists to support the driving experience, not distract from it. Every control falls to hand. Everything unnecessary has been removed. Then comes the powertrain. And this is where the 001 FR stops being a car and starts being a statement. 4 electric motors, 1 at each wheel, combine for 1,170 horsepower. Zeekr's flat ride system actively manages torque distribution between all 4 corners with millisecond precision, planting power exactly where grip exists and pulling it back before wheel spin can rob you of momentum. 0 to 60 arrives in 2.7 seconds. The quarter mile disappears in 9.9 seconds. Top speed is electronically limited to 155 miles per hour, not because the motors can't go further, but because the tires set the ceiling. Range sits at around 270 miles less than the standard 001 because physics demands a price for this kind of performance. 800-volt architecture means that range recovers fast when you need it to. Pricing lands around $140,000. $140,000 for 1,170 horsepower, 2.7 seconds to 60, and a shooting brake body that stops traffic before you even press the accelerator. You've been told for years that the most exciting cars come from Europe. You've been told that performance, luxury, and technology at this level carries a price that only a few can afford. The 001 FR doesn't just challenge that idea, it obliterates it. China isn't coming for the automotive world anymore. It's already here,